All right. I'd like to call the May 15th Mount Lebanon Commission meeting to order. Sorry, 27th, looking at the wrong line. Pledge of allegiance, please, if you would stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Manager McGill, would you do roll call?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Commissioner Flynn? Present. Commissioner Silverman? Here. Commissioner Swager Wilson?
Here.
Commissioner Siegler?
Here.
Commissioner Gorella is not able to attend tonight's meeting.
All right. And with that, I would like to turn it over to the Manager McGill to make a summary of discussion session topics, manager announcements, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Earlier tonight, Commission met in discussion session and received information and discussed the following items. We heard a presentation from John Trant regarding a proposal to work with staff to develop a template related to goal setting. We received an update on the consent order and MS4 work in the municipality. We received information on some follow-up items from the advisory board annual reports and some requests for direction from the commission, which was received. We also received information about the renewal of municipal insurances. We did not actually have time for updates from commission on their activities with the various boards that they are liaison to. We will make sure that we get that in at the June 10th meeting. Prior to that meeting, the commission met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next regular meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, June 10th, right here in this room at 8 p.m. Here are the ways the public can participate, either in person. You don't need to pre-register. Simply show up at the appropriate meeting time, and if you wish to speak, either during citizens' comments or during any public hearing, simply sign the sign-up sheet at the back of the room, or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, you don't need to pre-register. Simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak.
Thank you, Manager McGill. And Commissioner Swager Wilson, could you give us community highlights, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We are fortunate in Mount Lebanon to have Outreach Teen and Family Services here. It's a nonprofit counseling organization that receives some municipal funding to help our residents during difficult times. Every resident is able to receive 2 free counseling sessions. Let's lift the stigma so everyone can get help. Details are available at outreachteen.org. The Uptown Farmers Market starts this Saturday, May 31st on Washington Road. The market runs from 9 a.m. to noon and features local produce, meat, breads, and treats. The market is sponsored by the Mount Lebanon Partnership and will be every Saturday through October. A 5K to benefit Hoover Elementary School will close some roads in that neighborhood from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturday, May 31st. A detailed map is on our website, mountlebanon.org, under Trending Now. Best of luck to Hoover for a successful annual event. Relay for Life of Mount Lebanon will be Saturday, June 7th, starting at 2 p.m. at the high school stadium. The annual event raises money for the American Cancer Society and offers hope to those touched by cancer. Even if you're not walking in the relay itself, spectators will be able to contribute money, purchase food, and play games. Admission is free and the public is welcome. Despite this weekend's cold snap, it's not too late to get annual pool passes, a convenient way to pay for pool visits this summer. Purchase them in person at the rec center. Details at mountlebanon.org/swim-center. That's all.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Item number 2, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any resident to express an opinion on any topic pertaining to local government. The Commission enjoys hearing from the public on various issues and learning about items to address in the future. If you have specific questions, we'll try and answer them at the end of your comments. If we can't, we commit to getting you answers as soon as possible. When I call your name, please come to the podium to address the commission. State your name and address for the record. In fairness, we ask each speaker to share their thoughts for 5 minutes. The community is as good as each person in the room. We work together to make this a community that we can all be proud of, and we hope that the dialogue remains respectful. We also appreciate the audience's efforts to refrain from any behavior that is disruptive or might intimidate free speech. First up, I'd like to call Colonel Hoon.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. I thought we'd look tonight at what deer contribute to the environment and how the environment is shaped by other animals in our township and elsewhere. Deer are browsing animals as opposed to grazing animals. Grazing animals are cattle, horses, bison. The grazers chew what's down on the ground. They go after the grass. Hence, the bison own the Great Plains. Deer, on the other hand, I've actually seen them get up on their hind legs to eat more tender leaves from trees than the lower leaves, which are bigger. The deer, well, I know you folks have never observed deer. When they eat a fruit, they eat all of it, seeds and all. When we eat an apple, most of us throw away a core. Europeans don't do that because everything's more expensive over there. They eat the whole thing, throw away the stem, and spit out the seeds. The deer do not spit out seeds. They swallow them along with the fruit. And many of these seeds actually require going through the digestive tract of an animal to soften up the coat so the seed can germinate and get a plant. That's the relationship with many of these animals. It's evolved over a long period of time. And when you've had an animal such as deer that have lived here for 12 million years, the plants have become adapted to the animal. They have a very important role. Birds and a lot of rodents such as squirrels are also seed movers. Squirrels actually plant a lot of seeds which they hide for their winter larder. So these animals and the plants in the area have a very important interrelationship. And deer especially can travel in the course of their lifetime up to 150 miles. They move all the time. The only time deer are stationary is when a doe has a little one or little ones. Then she stays nearby until they're strong enough to move on. That takes a while. So, 12 million years for the deer. How long have we been here? Anybody have any ideas? I mean, we've got a site very close to us, the Meadowcroft Rock Shelter, that provides evidence that humans have been in this area at least 17,000 years. Deer have been here a bit longer. Okay, I've been to Meadowcroft, by the way. It's very interesting. There's water right there, everything they need. And that's why they stayed there. Whites like us, how long have we been here? Well, a few hundred years. Native Americans, 17,000 years. Whites like us, that would be the French traders and fur trappers, and that'd be a few hundred years. That's it. But we act like we own everything here. We think we own the planet. The dominant life form on this planet is not humans. It's bacteria and viruses. The very things that make us ill may kill us and destroy our bodies. And we don't even think about them. That's interesting. We think we're so important. That's the big thing. And I've known a lot of people who have died, and not one of them, especially the ones that were dying, thought they were all that important. They didn't even think their lives were that important for the most part. So, dear adaptations to humans. Well, I see, done. Thank you very much.
Mary Jo and Greg Rogers?
That would be me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. My husband and I reside at 121 Halsey Court. Halsey Court has, first, this is referring to an issue we're having with Public Works about the street trees, which are the trees that are on the strip of grass between the sidewalk and the street. Our Bradford pear was diseased and was removed. And in its place, Public Works planted a red leaf maple tree. Our tree expert has told us that this tree is going to grow to be 40 feet tall and 20 feet spread. And its roots are going to uproot the sidewalk. And we are asking to have this tree removed because, for one thing, it is planted dead center in front of our front door. Now I have been talking to a Mr. Dan Kirk at Public Works. And he has told me that the tree cannot be relocated because of the proximity to utility lines on that strip of sidewalk. We are asking to have the tree removed because we feel that it is also going to, when it grows, and it's a rapid grower, it is going to devalue it's going to cause the value of our house to depreciate. And we have since done some research with the municipality ordinances and found out that, first of all, a replacement tree should have been planted where the tree was dug up, and they did not do that. They planted it in the center of this strip. Also, the ordinance states that you cannot have one tree within 40 feet of another one, and this one is 21 feet away. So we are asking, the reason we are here, when I talked to Mr. Kirk, it's been 3 weeks now, and the last time I talked to him was last week. It took a week and 3 phone calls before he got back to me. And then he said that he would call me back the next day, and I still haven't heard from him. All we're asking is to have this tree removed. He had told us that you have to have 2 trees per house. And again, the ordinance states that you only need 1. So that is why we're here tonight, to ask your help with this situation.
Well, she took the word right out of my mouth. Basically, we have been reviewing the ordinances. And like Greg just said, we're going on next year will be our 40th year in this house. And the trees that we had previously have grown not tremendously like she said the maple would. And as a result, we initially outlined our landscaping around the initial 2, I'm going to call them sidewalk trees. And basically, that's what we are looking at right now. That tree is only, like she said, about 21, 22 feet from the existing tree. And we do have one on our property, which does meet the guidelines of your ordinances. And if you want me to read them off, I can do it as far as your ordinance is concerned. But, and then, or you could contact me further on that. But anyhow, it does take away from review. I don't know if you take pictures or look at pictures. However, this is our house, and that's the tree they planted right in front of. And all we're asking is that to be removed.
Without him here, I don't have any additional insight. I don't know if anybody.
I would defer to the solicitor's comments were made relating to the,
Thank you.
all right, okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
The solicitor said he'll look at the code, so.
To be back in touch for sure. All right. Shane Oh, I'm
I just
sorry.
want to make sure they understand that there will be follow-up from
Yes,
municipal
yes, I'm sorry.
staff. I just wasn't sure that was clear to them, that's all.
And again, my name's Keith McGill, I'm your municipal manager. I can assure you that we will either have Dan Kirk or Rudy Sukol, who is our Director of Public Works, get back in touch with you. And I apologize if there's been a delay in communication, that really should never happen. But again, I appreciate you coming to the meeting and letting us know. We will follow up and we will definitely get back to you. So thank
for
you.
your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right. Next up, Shane Battis. Oh, Sean, sorry. I actually know that.
Sean Battis, 448 Jason Avenue. Good evening. On April 28th, I was driving to the high school to pick up my son from an after-school practice. Driving along Maybrick Avenue, a road on which I frequently see young children playing and crossing, an SUV turned onto the road, swerved into my lane, and continued to drive directly at my car until I had to stop fully, lay on the horn, and get their attention. They luckily swerved back onto their side of the road at the last minute. While I cannot with 100% certainty say that the driver was looking at their cell phone rather than the road, it fits a larger pattern that I see repeated over and over. As a runner and pedestrian, I consistently see drivers turning out of roads, pulling away from signals, or just driving down the road with their eyes still glued to their phones. As a cyclist, my biggest fear is an oblivious motorist lost in their text chain or video. And yes, I've been passed by someone watching a video while they're driving. As a driver, I've experienced the frustration of being stuck behind someone with their head down at a green light, resorting to using the horn to get traffic moving. I'm sure we've all had that experience, and it does nothing but raise everyone's blood pressure. As a father, I'm afraid of my son running. Last June 5th, our state government passed Paul Miller's Law, which bans the use of interactive mobile devices while driving, including while stopped at traffic signals. Texting while driving has been against the law since 2012, but difficult to enforce. We now finally join the majority of states in which mobile device usage is a primary offense. Starting June 5th, police may pull over drivers and issue warnings, and 1 year later may issue summary offenses and fines. Our country's history of inequitable policing gives me pause when requesting new police enforcement, though the new law also requires officers to collect demographic data and look for inequitable trends. Not a panacea, but a step forward. I also understand that enforcement alone will not change the cultural norm that has unfortunately set in. I personally plan to develop and host a workshop to help others get set up with and use technologies like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Not the safest option, but legal and better than holding a phone. But I'm ultimately here tonight to request Commission, 1, work with staff and the police force to educate the driving public that the law has changed, and 2, that our police officers actively enforce and specifically target this new law to send the message that distracted driving in Mount Lebanon is unacceptable. I was lucky to be in a car with a loud horn on April 28th. I shudder to think what could have happened if I was on a bike, or worse, a child was crossing the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And Chief, I don't know if you have any comment to speak to if there is going to be additional enforcement around this, or if this is still something you're.
Absolutely. So June 5th, the law gets in place. The distracted driving law you mentioned will be in place on June 5th. That along with our rollout campaign that we have with Pace Yourself Libra, which again is a rollout for awareness of pedestrians, automobiles, cyclists, and everybody involved to not have distracted driving, distracted walking and cycling and other things. It's something that we'll be rolling out as well along with that as we
Thank you. And thank you, Sean. I mean, we have all seen it, and it is extremely scary. I heard somebody had said that the state's rolling out red light cameras that will target cell phone drivers. Have anybody else heard that? I mean, not that will, yeah, that will target cell phone users. I don't know if that's true. My 17-year-old son told me, so I'm not sure.
Since we can't get, Arlie, whatever, automated red light enforcement now, it's prohibited. I'm just not optimistic. I mean, I'm in favor of it. I'm just saying, given we're like,
I believe the legislation's
Philadelphia has
changing.
automated red light enforcement, but we can't get that for Allegheny County.
I thought that legislation might be changing possibly. At least there's a push for it, but
It's incredibly frustrating.
yes. Please do. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, next up, Dave Egler.
One Poplar Drive. It's nice to see other residents coming up to speak for once other than me and Colonel Hoon. It's very nice, but I've been thinking since Colonel Hoon spoke, I like apples, but I'm not going to be eating cores, so I don't get that. Those crazy Europeans, they may like it, but I don't, and I'm not worried about my hair being soft, so I'm not going to be eating them. But I did want to comment about the event on Monday. It was very nice down in the park for the Veterans Day. The weather was perfect and a nice crowd. It was a very nice annual event. How many years has that been going on now? About a decade, or I'll lose track?
I'm thinking about, since I'm in year 12 and going, I think I've been to all 12, so, yeah.
Yeah,
But
very-
thank you.
Very nice event. I have one question, and I apologize, I couldn't make it to the discussion session, and I believe you had a discussion on the insurance. And I'm looking here on the bids. I guess I have two questions. One, did the Hub International, as the broker, do they have other quotes, I would assume, that are out there? I'd be curious to see how they compared against Travelers. And the other question is, it looks like we're at almost exactly 50% increase. Now, I know everybody personally on their insurance is getting soft left and right. The insurance industry never seems to lose here in the end. Is there a reason given for a 50% increase in the rates?
I believe Andrew might be able to provide some insight on this.
Yeah, as we discussed in the discussion session, our claims activity was a red flag to a lot of the people that bid on it. So to your question specifically, the next lowest bidder who cannot complete a complete program that Travelers can provide was another $80,000
Wow.
on top of it. So that wasn't even a complete program.
Okay, how many other people bid, or did they get
There
bids?
was no complete bid outside of
No,
Travelers.
no complete,
That's
wow.
correct. So 1, 2, 3, 3 other firms did it as well. Another firm provided 2 quotes.
So it's almost like a monopoly. You mentioned red flag. I'm trying to think what incidents we had here that would have done that. Is that something we can discuss? Or?
Yeah,
Ice rink,
Nice, great.
Well, oh,
ice rink,
Rink and ice rink.
rink and ice rink, yeah.
yeah, okay. Wow, that's good to hear. Well, thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. All right, next up, John Reagan.
Good evening. My name is John Reagan of 777 Shady Drive East, and this is the first in what I hope to be a series of talks before the Commission and the Planning Board critiquing Mount Lebanon's current zoning and development laws in order to encourage reform. I figured it's best to start with a general topic, so let's look at Section 20-807 of the Zoning Code, Dwelling Unit Standards. Except no, in spite of the title, it actually looks like this section covers dwelling unit conversions, not new construction. The stated intent is to prevent overcrowding, specifically of people, since the code already has a lot to say about building density. 807 indirectly regulates human density by specifying minimum sizes for buildings or portions thereof altered to add dwelling units. Although with the confusing title, I wouldn't be surprised if a zoning officer actually, did try to apply it to all construction. And if that were to happen, then everything I'm about to complain about would be 10 times worse. The fundamental problem with this section is that it starts off with a gigantic minimum size for a studio apartment and then adds a very tiny amount for every bedroom thereafter. So the requirements start off quite draconian for small conversions and then end up kind of lax for big ones. This effect is effectively a ban on any conversion except knocking down the wall between two apartments to build a bigger one, which, reading between the lines of the flavor text, is exactly the intent. This is a common theme in the zoning code, a one-way ratchet mechanism that preserves the character of the neighborhood by making sure any change to existing property results in more spacious homes, fewer residents, and more car storage than there currently is. To drive home how unreasonable these home sizes are, I don't think that I have ever had a home in my adult life that met them until I was an established professional in my 30s with a wife and a child. Not only because I was making more money, but also because the requirements become more lax the more bedrooms there are. Making the assumption that habitable floor area refers to net rather than gross per the code definitions, my 3-bedroom childhood home in Elizabeth Township only just barely met them. Granted, Elizabeth Township is a bustling metropolis where land is scarce and every square foot counts, so let's take a look at an example closer to home. That was a joke, you're supposed to laugh. My family toured a 3-bedroom house on Lavina Avenue this month with our real estate agent. We passed on it in part because it wasn't actually appreciably bigger than our current 2-bedroom apartment. But this decidedly small 3-bedroom house did meet the 1,100 square foot code minimum for a 5-bedroom conversion. 5 bedrooms. As a side note, the code seems to say that the minimum size for a studio apartment applies not just to the dwelling as a whole, but also to the largest room in any home, including new construction. This means that both that studios effectively can't use their bathroom and kitchenette to count towards square footage, and also that everyone in this room is a bunch of peasants living in squalor because our living rooms aren't big enough. Building codes already indirectly regulate dwelling size with rules about minimum bedroom dimensions, doorway width, and all that good stuff. So this code section is just an extra redundant set of rules that someone thought it was a good idea to add to make infill development more bureaucratically complex. As a remedy, I suggest deleting section 807 in its entirety without replacement due to silliness and redundancy to less ambiguous laws. If there's a desire to maintain the ban on basement dwellings for health and safety purposes, it could be appended to a more relevant section of the code. Thank you.
Mr. Reagan, thank you for your thoughtful and entertaining comments. You'll be happy to know that we are actually doing a zoning refresh starting probably later this summer, and we'd love to have your voice continue to be involved.
That's why I'm here.
All right, do we have any online comments?
Nobody online.
All right, excellent. Thank you, everyone. All right. Item 3, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the minutes from the regular meeting held May 13th, 2015. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Item number 4, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction, public hearing, and consideration of ordinance bill number 2-25, authorizing general obligation bonds in a principal amount not to exceed $7.5 million through the issuance of its general obligation bonds, Series 2025. The municipality desires to issue debt for the projects listed below and also to pay the cost of issuing the bonds. Now, I don't know if that's going to be on for the audience or not. We got a slide coming up. There it is. There's the list. But I'll read it out. Proposed projects: swimming pool filtration, $1,381,280. Public safety center boiler and HVAC controls replacement, $509,640. Tennis court reconstruction plan, phase 3, $331,900. Municipal building HVAC upgrades, $510,000. Meadowcroft Park ADA, $470,930. Tennis courts 1 through 8 lighting, $339,250. Tennis center pickleball construction, $295,000. Tennis center fencing, $262,000. And the South Garage project, $3.4 million. Mr. President, I introduce Bill number 2-25.
All right.
Second?
Oh,
Oh, just that. There you go.
all right.
Gotta go.
We'll conduct a public hearing on this matter, and I believe that Mr. Egler, you have signed up to make a comment.
For 121 Poplar Drive. See, you tried to rush us along, see what happens. And it's interesting, I'll get back to my one question on here. I brought up a few meetings ago about the property, and we had meetings were spaced out, like introduction, public hearing, and then approval. And in this case, we're doing all three together. And this is one time I think would be nice to introduce it at one meeting so that somebody can be aware of it and show up to speak at another meeting. Now, in most cases with this, there's only three people I can think of that speak at bond issues, and that's me, myself, and I. But it would be nice to maybe space this one out a little bit. I don't see any need to hurry it. In some cases you do, but you do get approval to have prepaid expenses made. So I'm just thinking this is one case where an introduction could be tonight and a public hearing could be 2 weeks down the road. Do you have anything to offer on that?
Same process we followed in the last bond issue is what we're following for tonight.
I'm just suggesting, though, I understand past policy, but it'd be nice to maybe give a little warning. Because I know you were talking about bond issue a whole bit, but I didn't know there was a public hearing tonight until I got the email on it, so.
To your point, Mr. Egler, as I indicated during discussion session when we touched briefly on the issue, we started discussing this bond issuance during the budget process in November of last year. We continued that discussion and had no less than 2 discussion session topics about this specific issue. So I think there's been ample information provided to the public, opportunities for feedback. Residents are permitted to speak at any public meeting on any topic. So again, I think we've provided adequate notice and adequate opportunity.
I agree with you. There has been discussion, but to have the, I don't want to say it's finalized, but, you know, basically have it set here to see in writing. And speaking of that, there's one item, looks like Dave Donnellan's making out pretty well here with a lot of recreation things. So congratulations to the Recreation Department. But the question I have is on the South Garage project. I take it that that's money for the demo. I'm just wondering about that because as myself and Commissioner Flynn going back to our parking days, my last words of wisdom about, I don't know, it's been 5 years ago or so was, I hope that when it comes to the South Garage, that the commissioners have something planned before they spend any additional money. In other words, don't put anything into maintenance if you're planning on demoing it. And if you are going to demo it, is there a plan for what's going to go in there?
Well, we've retained a consultant to work with the municipality on developing a plan for the South Garage. It's a unique opportunity, one we won't have again, probably in the foreseeable future. It's an opportunity to bring that structure back as something more than simply a parking structure. So we are looking at potentially partnering, doing a public-private partnership with a developer to come in, return the parking spaces needed by the municipality, and then develop a project on top of that. Could be a combination of first floor retail with residential housing. It could be something else that the market is telling us or telling the developer is going to be an investment that they will see a return on. But I think it provides an opportunity for the municipality and the school district to realize more from that structure than what currently exists there. And this is a unique situation in the fact that we actually have site control. That is most typically not the case when we see development come to the municipality.
Oh, I totally agree, and a lot of the things you mentioned was discussed even way back. And I guess I'm a little bit disappointed we haven't studied it sooner than later. And I guess my concern is, let's not lock it down before there is a plan and an approval in place.
Well, and as you know, we've got 3 years to use proceeds from the bond issuance.
Right. Well, it's been 5 years since I left, so.
So we had a study
I know
done.
government moves slow sometimes, I'm just.
Yeah, we are in the second year of a study that told us that garage has about 5 years of usable life left. So that puts us within that 3-year window to your point, make a decision, get out on the street with a request for proposals to see what kind of development we can attract and actually put a project back in place.
Okay, I was gonna say, what's that approaching, close to 75 years now? It was built in the 50s.
Correct, and as you are probably familiar, we've done a number of, this is, I believe, the second or third structural engineering study that we did. We did one a number of years ago for both garages. Municipality invested between $4 and $5 million between the two garages to extend the useful life. We then again went back out 2 years ago, almost not quite 2 years ago, had another study done that basically came back and said, hey, look, here's what you need to do to get to an additional 5 years of usable life from that structure, but you're not going to go beyond that realistically.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's old enough now to be an historical thing, so may not be able to do anything with being an historical item there, but it's got its good useful life out of it, so.
Take your pictures now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm kind of curious to see how it would be brought down.
I don't know.
Well, that's the reason for
remains
the
to be
allocation.
seen, yeah.
It will be a challenging project.
Volunteers.
Tight site.
Demolition is not our expertise. We can hire professionals for that
Project.
stuff.
Any additional comments on the public hearing?
Anybody online?
Anyone online?
Nobody online.
All right, I would like to close the public hearing.
Mr. President, I move to enact ordinance bill number 2-25 by special procedure in accordance with section 114.6 of the Administrative Code. Vote is by roll call and 4 votes are required.
Second? You need a second, right?
We have to do a roll call vote for the actual.
Yeah.
So.
Moved in second. Manager McGill, can you call the roll call?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Commissioner Flynn.
Yes.
Commissioner Silverman.
Yes.
Commissioner Swager Wilson.
Yes.
Commissioner Siegler.
Yes. All right. Item number 5, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of resolution number R6-25, expressing support for Pittsburgh Regional Transit and urging adequate and sustainable funding to maintain transit service for our community. This resolution affirms the municipality's strong support for the Pittsburgh Regional Transit and the essential services it provides to Mount Lebanon and the region. Calls upon the Pennsylvania General Assembly and the governor to act swiftly to address PRT's funding shortfall and provide long-term sustainable support for public transit across the Commonwealth, and directs the municipal manager to transmit copies of this resolution to the Allegheny County Executive, the leadership of Pittsburgh Regional Transit, the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and Mount Lebanon's legislative delegation.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I would like to thank Commissioner Flynn for bringing this up. I think it's important to our community and to the region. So I appreciate the fact that we're looking at this. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Vice President, before you go to the next, I just want to go back to the prior item and just clarify the fact that we did do a roll call vote. By the charter, we need to have 4 affirmative votes to issue debt. We had those 4 affirmative votes, so therefore the motion passes.
Thank you for the clarification. All right. Item number 6, Commissioner Swager Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of an award for Mount Lebanon's 2025-2026 insurance program. The non-employment-related insurances for the municipality expire on June 5th, 2025. This includes property, equipment, crime, automobile, general liability, professional, and umbrella coverages. For the upcoming years, staff is recommending the quote from our current broker of record, Hub International Limited, with the insurance providers outlined below. It is on my right and your left. I don't think I need to read all of this. Do not. Good. All right, there it is. Any questions or concerns? Okay. There are changes to the coverage, deductibles, and limits for the next year based on what travelers' policies. All changes still sufficiently cover the municipality. The general fund will be responsible for $581,575, and the parking fund will pay $33,827. I move to authorize the placement of insurance for 2025, 2026 through Hub International Limited at a cumulative premium of $615,402.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a movement and a second. Any discussion?
Just to thank Terry Winstein for all of her hard work on this. She's really does a great job.
Seeing no discussion, I'll call for vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration to purchase one animal control replacement box. The police department has requested to purchase one animal control replacement box for Unit AC 362. The current box on Unit AC 362 has been deemed unusable due to excessive corrosion. Sabre Equipment Incorporated has quoted the purchase price of the replacement box under CoStar's contract 025E22-414. The total purchase price includes the government price concession discount. The total purchase price of the replacement box as quoted by Sabre Equipment Incorporated is $73,455. The South Hills Cooperative Animal Control voted to use capital escrow funds to purchase the unbudgeted upfit. A budget amendment will be made to recognize the use of escrow funds. Mr. President, I move to purchase one animal control replacement box through the CoStar's purchasing program from Sabre Equipment Incorporated at a total price of $73,455.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Silverman. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting items on our agenda this evening. Consideration for the award of the Courts 1 and 2 Pickleball Conversion Project. Bids were received on April 15th, 2025 for the Courts 1 and 2 Pickleball Conversion Project. The project consists of 2 contracts, the site work and the court work. The site work includes site demolition, removal of hard-true courts, installation of aggregate base, and bituminous paving. The court work includes the installation of pickleball regulation nets, posts, and fences, colored court coating system, and line striping, and site restoration. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as presented on the screen for the viewing audience, which I will not read because it's long and lots of numbers.
Tedious.
And, yeah, thank you, yes. And the municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bids to be accurate. The engineer recommends the contract number 1, site work, be awarded to T.A. Robinson Asphalt Paving Incorporated. The low bidder has completed similar projects for the municipality in a satisfactory manner. The engineer also recommends the contract number 2, court work, be awarded to CH&D Enterprises Incorporated. The low bidder has completed similar projects for the municipality in a satisfactory manner. The budgeted amount for these contracts is $281,728.50, and the engineer's estimate was $295,000 even. The project is to be funded through the 2025 Capital Projects Fund. Mr. President, I move to award the Courts 1 and 2 Pickleball Conversion Contract Number 1, site work to T.A. Robinson Asphalt Paving Incorporated in the amount of $152,588.50, and to award the Courts 1 and 2 Pickleball Conversion Contract Number 2, court work to CH&D Enterprises Incorporated in the amount of $129,140.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Go pickleball.
Yeah, where are all the pickleball people?
I know.
They're like,
They're out, they're busy playing.
Yeah.
in the rain. Good idea.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 9, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you again, Mr. President. This is a consideration for the award of the Mount Lebanon Tennis Court Lighting Project. Bids were received also on April 15th, 2025 for the Mount Lebanon Tennis Court Lighting Project. The project includes the replacement of sports court lighting fixtures and one pole on existing tennis courts 1 through 8 at the Mount Lebanon Tennis Center. Also included is the installation of new conduit and wire at various courts. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as presented once again on the screen, and the municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bids to be accurate. The engineer recommends the contract be awarded to Allegheny City Electric Incorporated. The low bidder has completed similar projects for neighboring municipalities in a satisfactory manner. The budgeted amount for this contract is $309,250. Although the bids received exceeds the budget, adjustments to the fence repair contract will be made to keep the entire project within budget. The project is to be funded through the Capital Projects Fund. Mr. President, I move to award the Mount Lebanon Tennis Court Lighting Project contract to Allegheny City Electric Incorporated in the amount of $371,000.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Flynn. I feel like I'm on a game show when you are up.
That's what I'm here for.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 10, Commissioner Swiger-Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration for the award of the Mount Lebanon 2025 HVAC and boiler replacement contract. Bids were received on May 6, 2025 for the Mount Lebanon 2025 HVAC and boiler replacement contract. The project includes base bid 1, which is the removal and replacement of existing rooftop units at the Mount Lebanon Municipal Building, along with associated electrical work. Base bid 2, the removal and replacement of the existing hot water boilers and appurtenances, along with associated mechanical and electrical work at the Mount Lebanon Public Safety Center building. Alternate bid 1, replacement of controls related to operation of mechanical controls at the Public Safety Center. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as followed, again, on my screen, on the screen to my right, to the audience's left. The municipal engineer has determined the low bid to be accurate and recommends the award. The low bid contractor, Toby Karg, has completed similar projects in a satisfactory manner and currently holds the maintenance contract for the municipality's buildings. The engineer's estimate for the project was $829,000. The project is to be funded through the proposed 2025 bond issue. I recommend that we award the Mount Lebanon 2025 HVAC and boiler replacements contract to Toby Karg for base bid 1, $323,250. Base bid 2, $245,178. And the alternate bid, $252,500 in the total amount of $820,928.
Second.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 11, Commissioner Silverman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the Mount Lebanon Public Safety Center 2025 facade repairs. Bids were received on May 6, 2025 for the Mount Lebanon Public Safety Center 2025 facade repairs contract. The project involves full masonry restoration, pressure washing, and other miscellaneous items along the facades of the Mount Lebanon Public Safety Center. The base bid was for the front facade, and alternate bids were received for the north and south sides and the front planters. The engineer has reviewed the bids as follows, and they're on my right and the audience's left. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the project be awarded to Escajeda Masonry LLC. The low bid contractor has provided municipal references who indicate they completed similar projects in a satisfactory manner. The budget amount for this contract is $117,500, and the engineer's estimate for the project was $135,000. The project is within budget and is to be funded through the capital fund. Mr. President, I move to award the Mount Lebanon Public Safety Center 2025 facade repairs contract to Escajeda Masonry LLC for the base bid, $39,340. Add alternate number 2, $27,290, and add alternate number 3, $26,700, and the total amount of $93,333.
Second.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I will just say that having spent quite a bit of time in the Public Safety Center in the last few years, that this is really necessary. Maintaining our buildings, is something that I firmly believe we really need to stay on top of, and I am really glad that this is happening. I hope we continue to stay proactive because these buildings are important to the long-term value of our community. And there's a lot of deterioration on the facade that really needs to be addressed. So thank you, everybody, for your consideration on this.
I agree wholeheartedly. Thank you. All right. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 12, Commissioner Swigert Wilson.
This is a consideration for the award of the South Garage 2025 repairs contract. Bids were received on May 6, 2025 for the South Garage 2025 repairs contract. The project involves structural concrete repairs and caulk sealant replacement to the South Garage. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as follows on my right, on the screen on the right, and on the audience's left. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the project be awarded to Escajeda Masonry LLC. The low bid contractor has provided municipal references who indicate they completed similar projects in a satisfactory manner. The budgeted amount for this contract is $300,000, and the engineer's estimate for the project was $225,000. The project is within budget and is to be funded through the parking fund. I move to award the South Garage 2025 repairs contract to Escajeda Masonry LLC for the base bid in the total amount of $191,700.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 13, Commissioner Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to appoint Robert Garrity of Washington Road to the Mobility and Transportation Advisory Board with a term expiring 3/31/2026.
Second.
Right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 14, Commissioner Swigert Wilson.
This is consideration of the expenditure list for April totaling $3,854,497.98. I move to approve the expenditure list for April totaling $3,854,497.98.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Item number 15, Commissioner Silverman.
Departmental reports, I ask that the reports be received and filed.
All right, reports received and filed, and we are adjourned. Thank you.